Hey guys, it's Dan. I'm going to make another video about merch by Amazon because I had a question. Off the top of my head, I can't remember who asked the question. Sorry about that. I'd like to give you credit. But basically, the question was, how do you do keyword research for your shirt designs? If you don't know what Amazon merch is, this isn't really the right video. I did two other I did two other videos about what my experience has been with Amazon merch. So this one will be about how I try to attract buyers using the right keywords, the right, in the title. You have a brand name on merch for each shirt that can be different for each shirt. If you didn't already know that, you can use a different brand name each time. You might even want to do that. One reason that a lot of people think that don't want the same brand name on all their shirts, well, actually two reasons. One, you're not able to throw in keywords for that specific shirt if your brand name is just Dan's Shirts. If you're doing a football shirt, your brand could be something like American football, sports, shirts, athletics. You throw in words like that. So coach, player, hustle, practice, whatever, champion. These are all just off the top of my head, obviously, but so your brand name is a chance to do that. And also, if your brand name is the same every time, your shirts, if you have anybody wanting to copy your designs, they can just click on your brand name and up come all your shirts. So it might not be a big deal if, say, you have 3 shirts about football. You might even like it if those 3 are linked together because your buyers may be more likely to find that. But if you're doing a bunch of football shirts and you're also doing some hockey shirts, you might not want the copycat guy to get all your ideas about hockey and golf and sailing and fishing and whatever else you're doing. So that's why you can make those different brand names. You might have one brand name for your hockey shirts, one for your golf shirts, however you want to do it. I usually have a different brand name for most of my individual designs, but there are a few that are like really close. Maybe they're a different color of the same design, or I don't know, a different background, or just very slightly different wording or something. I might have the same brand name, or maybe it's like this, yeah, the same sport, the same animal, whatever it is. So that's kind of how I look at the brand name. Before I get into the specifics on how I find the keywords, I want to say that I'm more of a ready, fire, aim kind of guy, if you've ever heard that saying. So I believe that it's more important to do something than to do something perfectly. I think you can do more somethings if you're not stuck in that analysis paralysis, right? So I'd rather put up 10 shirts with imperfect keywords that maybe have some room for improvement than spend all day researching 2 or 3 shirts that I think I did the keywords perfectly. In general, in life, in most things, I'm a shotgun approach kind of guy. Of course, there are things like maybe marriage or your health where, choosing the right doctor, maybe that's not the right approach. But in small things with small consequences, I think I go for the shotgun approach, and I learn on the job and I get better as I go. So just like you wouldn't expect to become a football player and go straight to the Super Bowl, you got to go to practice first for years. That's how I approach a lot of these shirt designs. It's not the end of the world if I miss a keyword, and or if I could have done it a little better. You can even go back and edit your descriptions and your bullets and your titles and things later. So it's really not that big of a deal if you miss something. Okay, so to get to the content of how I actually do find keywords. First of all, there are some paid services. I don't really use those. I did for a little while when I was starting my board game. But you've got Merchant Words is an example where you can go and look at search volume in Amazon. So you could type in, like I did for my game, I would type in personal development and I would see if that got more clicks than self-improvement and self-help and self-growth and whatever else is kind of related. I would look at, oh wow, this one has 3 times as many clicks each month, so I'm going to target self-improvement more than personal development, or vice versa. So it might be the same with a shirt. Like maybe you're getting ready to do a bunch of shirts and you find out that, I don't know, dolphin has 10 times as many clicks as porpoise or something. Like, oh wow, I was just about to name that shirt porpoise shirt and now I'm going to name it dolphin shirt. And obviously that's a very oversimplified example, but you can check that way on Merchant Words if you want to. I personally, like I said, I'm kind of a ready, fire, aim, spray and pray, shotgun approach kind of guy. And there are free ways to get good keywords, I think, without having to pay. One that I picked up from, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Jacob Topping, who does a lot of good videos about merch as well. But there's this tool called WriteWords. I think it's just writewords.com, and it's write like writing with a pen. And I believe it's for authors to see which words they're using too often. But basically, you can paste text into it, hit the button, and it shows you the frequency of words. So I do this like, let me think of an example here. You might throw in Abraham Lincoln. And so what I do is I go to Wikipedia and I copy the text. So I've got my Abraham Lincoln shirt. Maybe it's like Abraham Lincoln on Mount Rushmore type of shirt or something like that. So I paste the whole Wikipedia article into writewords.com, hit the magic button, and I see which words come up most frequently. Like, of course, president would probably come up. And where was he from? Tennessee or something? No, I don't know. His home state might come up. I bet Gettysburg would come up. Probably Civil War would come up. Maybe Grant, because of General Grant. So these are things that, I might have gone, oh yeah, I forgot. I wasn't going to mention the Civil War. What was I thinking? So you throw that in there. Or maybe you thought of the Civil War, but you forgot about the Gettysburg Address or whatever. So you come up with these things that people associate with Lincoln, right? If you're not American, he was president. So that's one way to just have some jump out at you that you might have otherwise missed. Or maybe senator, maybe, you go, oh, that's right, he was a senator. Politics, you might have been thinking all about Lincoln specifically, but forgot to take a step back and mention just politics or United States or America or whatever. Maybe you throw United States in there and you get some clicks on like around the 4th of July or something. So that's a cool, interesting way to get your mind going. And there's also Google, I think they call it Keyword Tool, or maybe it was Keyword Planner. I feel like they changed the name at some point. But you can go there and get related ideas. And I don't use it. I have used it, but I don't like it quite as much. I kind of like the Wikipedia way of going. And even without using writewords.com, on Wikipedia, you just look at like the first paragraph or two, and you're going to tend to see some words jump out, and they usually are blue because they have links to other articles. So the significant stuff like Gettysburg will have a link. So it kind of jumps out at you without even using that tool that I described. But you can go to Google Keyword Planner. The thing is there, I found like if you put in Abraham Lincoln, you're going to get like Abraham Lincoln shirt, Abraham Lincoln book, Abraham Lincoln, all this stuff that it's not helping you get more search results on Amazon. It's related to products a lot of times. And anyway, check it out, see if you like it. And I guess depending on how many designs you're doing, if you're only allowed right now to do 1 or 2 designs a day, you might as well do both and learn and see what you like doing. But I just got tiered up, so I'm now allowed 500 designs. And so that means I've made my 100th sale. So now I got tiered up to allow 500 designs, and they're letting me do 10 a day. So I'm not going to spend like an hour researching each shirt when I'm trying to do 10 a day, right? So I'm going much more quickly now. And something I forgot to mention in the beginning is if you're dealing with niches that you're somewhat familiar with already, this process can be really quick, because if you already have a good grasp on the niche and the subject matter, you're probably going to be able to write these things with doing a very minimal amount of research, or maybe even none. And if you have other shirts that are already related to that one, you can go look at your other listing and take some or all of your description and apply it to this one. Like a lot of hockey shirts, you can have the same general description or something like perfect gift for hockey moms, and for the athlete in your family, whatever. Oh, and that's another point I wanted to mention is when I'm in a niche that I'm not that familiar with, or even if I am, I'll search it on Amazon, like hockey shirt, and see what comes up and look at their titles and their brand names. You can look at their descriptions too, but if they're doing a lot of sales and they're using certain keywords in their titles and brand names, you can bet that those are their top keywords if the person is actually logical about how they do their titles. And I would, again, focus on looking at the ones that are selling well, that have the high ranking. I mentioned it in my other merch video, but there's a tool. I always forget the name of it. I'll link to it in the description. but there's a tool that's a Chrome plugin. Actually, you know what? I won't link to it because just go to merchresearch.com. That's not my site, but it's a guy named Chris Green, and he made this Chrome plugin that when you pull up search results on Amazon, if you say hockey shirt, it'll show the sales rank right on each listing, so you don't have to click on each one individually. So if you see that, like, oh, these three are like in the top 100,000 shirts on Amazon, I would focus most of your attention on those ones that are selling well. See what keywords they're using. So that's a real shortcut to quickly find some good keywords that you might have otherwise forgotten. Yeah, and then common sense, really. Sometimes this isn't rocket science, you know, like if you're making a shirt about a bear, you can probably think of some good keywords about bear, you know, grizzly, bear, I don't know, Montana, camping, hunting, whatever. So another thing I would say too is just because all the other shirts are focusing on a certain maybe couple related keywords, that doesn't mean that anybody's tried using a different keyword. So in other words, if you're doing a shirt about a bear, but the image is a grizzly bear, maybe everybody else is just saying bear, camping, hiking, hunting, outdoors, whatever. I mean, I'm making this up. But maybe if you focus on grizzly, or like the Latin name, or, you know, things that like scientists or biologists or real like bear enthusiasts, words that only they would use, you might get like a smaller volume of searches with those keywords, but maybe you're the only guy coming up, or you're like the most relevant result when people are typing grizzly as opposed to bear. So, you know, maybe you type in bear and you get all these like cartoon shirts, and you get, I don't know, Teddy Ruxpin and different, you know, cartoon characters and stuff. But when you type grizzly bear, carnivorous horribilis, I think that's the Latin name, you might only get a couple designs that are geared more towards like biologists or outdoor enthusiasts or conservationists. Maybe that's one. Maybe bear conservation. You know, there are a few people into like reintroducing the grizzly bear into certain areas. So this isn't a video about bears, but I'm just giving you that example. Like, think about who isn't being targeted. Because even though there's a bazillion products on Amazon, I think there are niches that aren't like real specifically targeted sometimes, at least not with a shirt, right? Like maybe there's a bunch of books and videos directed at, you know, these bear researchers and biologists. You know, there might be some textbook all about bears and their habitat and their habits and how they hibernate and whatever. But if you can come up as the only shirt in that search result, that guy who is, you know, doing his thesis on grizzly bears in Montana may buy your shirt. So that's how I look at it. I hope this is kind of helpful for some of you out there. And again, check out, I made 2 other videos about merch, and I might make more in the future. I think it was just called My Experience with Merch. You can go to my channel and check those out, parts 1 and 2. And if this is useful for you, great. And hopefully you guys have some questions. Feel free to let me know if you have questions or other topics that you'd like to see a video on. And I usually do those when I get those questions. So I've been a little busy lately with my 10 uploads a day, but I'll try to get to your questions, at least in the comments I'll answer. And again, I post these usually on YouTube and Facebook, and you can go to OD on Life. You can see my old podcast episodes. I talk to a lot of digital nomad type people about online business and other things. So thanks everybody. Have a good day.